back to a brand new episode of Virtual Coffee. My name is Alexa Collier, and on this podcast, I sit down and have virtual coffee or sometimes virtual tea with small business owners and accomplished and innovative early career professionals. Now, with me today is the founder and owner of Naked by Nature, Amber Williams. Naked by Nature's mission is to empower all women and everyone through self-love and care, which they can accomplish through their skincare line. All of Naked by Nature's products are handcrafted in small batches and are free of toxic chemicals and other skin-harming ingredients. They use all natural and organic ingredients, and I'm really excited to dive into Amber's story here today. Before we do, I would greatly appreciate if you could rate and review the podcast on the Apple Podcasts app. It really helps us out and helps us be discovered by new listeners. You can also find Virtual Coffee on Facebook and Instagram. It's at Virtual Coffee Podcast. I hope you have a wonderful time listening to this episode, and now let's dive into Amber's journey. Welcome, Amber. Thank you so much for chatting with me today.
Oh, no problem. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, I'm really excited to hear about your story and hear more about Naked by Nature. So, to kick things off, can you describe Naked by Nature's mission and where the idea came from to create a skincare line?
So, yeah, our mission is basically to empower all women through self love and self care. We feel that it's really important to have, healthy skin and to be on top of your skincare. So, we're a skincare brand that I created when I was in college, basically. I didn't launch until the year after I graduated, but the idea started when I was in college because having sensitive skin myself, it was really kind of like my passion to create products that won't harm the skin and to make sure that when we're using products, our skin is staying healthy throughout the whole process. And we are very proud to say that all of our products are handcrafted in small batches by myself, and it's
Oh,
free of
wow.
toxic chemicals and parabens and other skin harming ingredients. And we make sure that we use either all natural products or organic ingredients in each product to make sure that you guys are getting the best quality for your skin. So all of our oils and butter are completely organic. The only reason why our products aren't completely organic is because sometimes we use fragrance oils, but we use fragrance oils that are derived from natural, like plants and stuff from the earth. So we're very proud to say that. And I'm very happy that I was able to bring this brand to life for everyone to experience.
Yeah, I love that mission, and thank you for being transparent in the ingredients you use. I think that's always awesome when a business, flat out states, "Hey, this is what's completely organic. This is what sometimes not, but here's why." I love that transparency. I didn't realize you started this pretty quickly after you graduated from college. So has Naked by Nature been out for years, or was it recently started? Like, when did it officially launch?
It officially launched last July on the 13th.
Okay.
So getting this launch together was honestly very difficult because
Hmm.
I went to Columbia College downtown Chicago and I studied fashion business. But I realized towards my junior year that that's not what I wanted to do. I got a chance to like shadow a possible job I could have once I graduated, and I was just like, this is not for me. And at the time, I was in a very toxic relationship and I was going through a lot of things with like friends and family, and I just really needed to like escape. So I would definitely use shower time as my time just to take care of myself and to make myself feel better. So of course, I would hop on Pinterest and look up like DIY spa days and stuff like
Mm.
that. So from there, I started to make my own sugar scrubs and my own body butters. And as time progressed, like I was breaking out really bad. And I in high school, I didn't have acne. So once I started getting this like adult acne and it was leaving scars and things like that, it kind of weighed on my self esteem a little bit. So I was like, okay, I have to figure something out of how to like clear my skin up and clear up these scars. So of course, you go to Target, you get your Clearasil or your Neutrogena, those type of products to try to, clear up my skin. And they were clearing up, the acne that I had, but it wasn't doing anything for my scars. So that's kind of where I started to look more into natural alternatives to like lighten the dark spots and the scars I was getting.
Mhm.
So that's when I kind of stumbled upon turmeric. That's why you'll see like, I have two main products now with turmeric in them because turmeric really like saved my face at that
Mhm.
point in time. So I definitely wanted to create something, a bar of soap and like a face mask that would help people out the way that it helped me My senior year is when I started doing research about making my own soaps and things like that, because also I have extremely dry skin, and in the winter, like my legs were
Hmm.
so dry, like alligator dry. And I was using all types of creams like Aveeno and Eucerin, Jergens, Vaseline. I was lathering that stuff on every day, and I was still like, I would put it on, and then like a few hours later I would be completely dry again. And then also the soap I was using was drying me out, so I knew that I needed to like create something that would help me. So once I started making my own soaps, I started to see significant improvements in my skin over time. And then I was also using the scrub twice a week, and then I was also using the body butter every day, and it really really helped keep my skin moisturized throughout the year. So I definitely seen lots of great results from making my own products. And
Hmm.
I was just doing this for myself at the time. And
Right.
someone was, and like my mom just kept saying, like, you should sell this stuff. You should sell this stuff. And I
Mhm.
was like, I don't know, because I don't know anyone who's selling like soap. I'm like, who's gonna buy soap from a 20-year-old? Like, I don't think I would trust a 20-year-old to make soap. I'm like, so who's gonna buy this stuff?
Yeah, I was gonna ask you, like when and why you decided to sell it. So it seems like your mom kind of planted that idea in your head, which is awesome.
She was the first one to say it, and then like she started like telling the family, and then like of course like my friends were like, what are you doing, your skin looks so great. And I'm like,
Mm.
oh well, I'm using the stuff that I made. So then they wanted stuff, so I just started
Mhm.
gifting stuff to people. And I was just getting so much positive feedback. They were like, oh my gosh, like you should really sell this stuff. So I was like, okay, well, I was thinking on it, and I was like, it was kind of like a pipe dream. I was like, okay, yeah,
Right.
I'll do it. I'll start a skincare brand, but I had no plan of how I was going to start it. So that senior year, my friend called, and he said to me like, so like, are you selling your stuff yet? Because like I have this opportunity for you to be a vendor, in the next 3 months at this event,
Mm.
and whatever. And I was like, I'm not starting yet. I'm like, but I can start it. So I foolishly thought that I could come up with a whole business plan and a logo and get packaging and like make a product list in 3 months. And that 3 months turned into a year, and there was a lot of ups and downs throughout that process. I had someone do a logo, and they kind of backed out at the last minute. And then I
Ah,
also had someone who was supposed to build like a website for me from scratch, and they backed out last minute because at the
ah,
time, at Columbia, we're all creatives there. So I was definitely reaching out to students that I knew who were like really
mhm.
great at certain things, and they had to focus on school, so they really couldn't help me. So I had to figure out how to help myself, because I did take a web design class, but it was a very short class. It was only like 5 weeks, so I didn't really
Okay.
know much. So I had to, look at other alternatives like Squarespace and Wix and stuff like that to create my own site. And then I had to help someone else create my logo. And it was definitely very hard and difficult to try to figure everything out by yourself, kind of like a one woman show. Like no one in
Mhm.
my family had ever done anything like this before. So I didn't really have anywhere to look for help besides like Google and YouTube.
Right. I'm really loving your story and how, I think a lot of small businesses or businesses in general start off with, hey, I'm doing this thing. Some people are telling me I should sell it. Yeah, right. That's crazy. But then you have some
Hmm.
sort of opportunity and okay, you try that and then all of a sudden you have like a full business, right? And you're
Yeah.
selling your products. I feel like that's how it really starts out. It's just one opportunity leads to another and then all of a sudden you're running your full blown small business. I think what's unique about yours is you really were just creating these products for yourself. And I think that in itself is unique because when I have, skin issues that I'm trying to solve, I'll just go and buy more products, right? Or like test different brands out. But you were like, I'm going to make my own and try to personalize something that works for my skin. I think that's so unique. That's an awesome backstory to your business. I love that.
Thank you. I
And
didn't even realize that's what I was doing at the time.
right. Yeah. No, that's why it's so cool. Like you were just doing your own thing, trying to figure out your skin and then all of a sudden it formed into this business that's profitable and successful. Just a really cool journey to hear. And I do want to dive in more to, that journey of launching Naked by Nature. But before we go into that, can you just describe a little bit more what products you do sell and where you ship them as well. I know you mentioned soaps, I think body butters, just kind of list off a few more for our audience and then where you ship.
So as of right now, I'm selling cold processed soap. So we did have 5 bars. As of right now, we have two. Three that we were previously offering, they are coming back in stock. But when it comes to soap, it kind of takes about 6 weeks to cure. So those will be back about next month. So we're excited to bring those back. But we right now we have a turmeric and lemongrass bar that's really great for evening out your skin tone and clearing scars. And it's also very good for acne prone skin. It's really good for all skin types. The turmeric bar is well rounded. And then the next bar that we have is our charcoal bar. So it is scented with lavender essential oil and tea tree essential oil, and it's made with charcoal and bentonite clay. So that is a strictly bar for oily skin. If you have acne prone skin, if you have oily skin, that bar is amazing. It'll clear almost anything up. I love that bar if I'm having any breakouts or anything. And then we do carry some sugar scrubs and a salt scrub. We have two sugar scrubs. One is warm honey. The other one is lavender. And then our third scrub is a salt scrub, a Himalayan pink salt scrub, and it's scented with strawberries. And that is my absolute favorite scrub. If you need like a really good abrasive scrub, that's the
Hmm.
one for you. And then we have 4 body butters. We have a vanilla bean, we have a tropical mango one, we have pineapple, and we have a rose quartz one. That one actually sells out every time I put it on there, and we'll be bringing
Nice.
that one back next month as well. And then we also sell hydrosol water toners. So we have rose, we
Oh,
have aloe, and we have witch hazel. I love those because usually when you see a toner, it's more of like an astringent, so it might burn or
right.
something like that.
Yeah.
So with these, they're a lot more mild and they're for people who have sensitive skin. Again, just because of myself, I know there are so many people that have skin sensitivity, so I don't want to offer anything that will burn or hurt the skin in that way. And then the last two products that we have a facial oil. So that's jojoba oil and orange essential oil. That's a great pick me up in the morning. And then our last product that we recently released is our turmeric face mask. So it's not your typical face mask, where once you put it on, it'll get like super like dry, it'll like pull
Hmm.
your skin, and by the time you're taking it off, you're like super red. Honestly, I hate face masks like that because it's like once you're finished, you kind of look worse than when you started off.
Right.
So with this mask, it once it dries, it's not gonna like pull your skin. It's like very soft and the texture is kind of like a mousse consistency. I worked on that for so long and I was so like happy to put it out. And so far all the reviews are great.
Such a wide variety of products. I love that because I feel like a lot of the soap small businesses I see on Instagram, like they really focus in on just soaps, but you have a super wide variety of products. I love that. It's like a whole skincare line. That's awesome. And do you ship just in the United States, internationally, just locally?
So yeah, we actually ship internationally.
Nice.
We actually just got our first order over in London. That's our that first time I've ever sent anything overseas. So
That's
I'm very
awesome.
happy and very proud.
Congratulations.
Thank you so
That's
much.
awesome. Perfect. Thank you for describing your products. So, to turn back to your business journey, do you have a team behind you? I know you keep mentioning we. I'm just curious if do people help you make your products or is it really just you running the whole business?
So it's pretty much just me and my
Okay.
mom. Well, my mom, anytime like I have a lot of orders or if I'm preparing for like an event or something like that, she will step in and she'll help me. But day to day is just me. I would definitely like to expand and have someone helping me here and there that, that's like an actual like employee. But as of right now, it's not really possible right now for me to be able
Mhm.
to like, pay someone. I'm just getting, we just hit a year a
Right.
couple of months ago, but yeah, it's just me right now.
Wow. Wow. Really? Yeah, that's a lot to do for one person. That's really inspiring. And how do you come up with, new product ideas and test out the ingredients, the mixes? I don't want you to give all your tips and tricks away or your secrets, but just is it just you, in your apartment or in your house just mixing together and testing things out? What does that process kind of look like?
Well, usually I kind of start with a problem within like
Mhm.
myself or that a friend or a family member brings to me or even a customer sometimes and be like, "Hey, I'm having this problem, like what can I do to like help out?" You know what I'm saying? So
Right.
Typically it kind of starts like there, like, what problem am I going to solve next?
Mhm.
And then from that point you do your research on, like, what types of natural ingredients could help solve that problem and everything like that. So I start there and I build up. So yeah, I do start off like in my apartment making the initial product for myself, and
Mhm.
then once I have the like formula like down packed, I distribute it to people. I give it to like most of my cousins and my friends, and I even sometimes on my personal Instagram, I'll like let people know like, hey, I'm coming out with a new product. Who would like to test it for free? And just, have a set number of people that I'm willing to give it out to, and like let those kind of results build up so that by the time I put it out, I already have results from people. And, because people love reviews, they want to know, hey, if I'm
Mhm.
going to buy this product, is it actually going to work for me? And they love to see people giving good feedback about it. Or, and then also then when I'm giving it out to so many different people, they can also tell me like what they find wrong with the product or what they feel like I need to change. So then that way I can go back to the drawing board and figure out what I need to do. So I did that with the turmeric mask. So I feel like that's why it turned out to be so great, because there was a lot of trial and error there.
Yeah, and a lot of user testing, right? I love that.
Yeah.
Just making sure you're getting it exactly right and also starting with a problem. You're not just creating a product that no one will use because it won't benefit them. Like you're starting with that problem and how can I solve that through my products? Yeah, that's really smart. And I love that, since you're really doing the majority of the work, like you must be so knowledgeable of the ingredients and what works well and every single thing that's going into this product. And I think a unique offering. You can contact you and say, hey, I'm looking to buy this product, like can you tell me all about it, and you have that knowledge because you're the one who put it together.
Yeah. I think that was really important because when I did start to, go on this journey of basically just trying to like clean out like, my cabinet and my shower of like toxic ingredients and things like that, even when something sometimes say that it's natural or it's organic, I automatically go to the back of the product and read. And I know like, oh, okay, there's a preservative there, and I know like which preservatives will cause the skin the most harm, or what's, that like I go read on like forums and see like what are the, I don't know what you would like put the category of people that
Hmm.
like only want to use like natural or like vegan products, but you go read
Right.
those forums and you see the problems they have with other
Yeah.
products, and I want to make sure that like they don't have that problem with my product. So I'm making sure that like someone goes to look up my ingredients, or if they know like where I'm getting that particular ingredient from, they don't have anything negative to say about the product. I think that's really important, that people are honestly getting the best quality ingredients from me in these products.
Yeah, completely agree. And I love how you keep bringing up that you do all this research on the problems, the ingredients, how to make the products, etc. I think that's just so powerful when you're creating your own products and selling them to people. Awesome. And you mentioned your personal Instagram. You have like thousands and thousands of followers, don't you?
Yeah.
How did that happen? Where did that come from? I'm just curious. Is it just the growth, like your personal growth, your personal brand? Was it from Naked by Nature? How did you grow so big on Instagram?
I'm actually, everyone always asks, like, how did you do it? And to be honest, I didn't do anything. So, for anyone listening who doesn't like know me personally, I do have vitiligo. I got vitiligo. I was diagnosed with vitiligo when I was 10. So, I've had it ever since then. And I would say maybe around like 2015, when Winnie Harlow, the model who was on America's Next Top Model, when she
Mm-hmm.
started to blow up, I feel like that's when vitiligo awareness kind of started to blow up, and people
Mm.
started to really like embrace and like support people with vitiligo.
Mm-hmm.
So I've always carried myself with a lot of confidence. People ask me all the time, like, how do you do it? And to be
Mm-hmm.
honest, my family like was really my backbone at the time when I was first diagnosed and my skin was starting to change. So they really instilled, that love and support, and instilled that like self love that I have. So my confidence was always high. I've always loved to take pictures and dress up and look nice. So like on Instagram, I was just being myself. I was just posting almost every day, just of, just selfies and things like that. So I really, there was a post I made about like self love. I wrote this like super long caption about like having vitiligo and self love and stuff like that. And people started to share it on like Facebook and on Twitter and Instagram. And just honestly following that, I got so many followers. I got so many like likes and comments, and people just continue to share that picture for like months, and like that caption
Mhm.
I wrote for like months. So that's where it like initially started. And then from there, like people just kept reposting me on like all of these like page different types of pages. I just kept getting reposted like every single day. And it was honestly overwhelming because like I wasn't an influencer. I'm still not an influencer
Mhm.
or anything like that. And I kind of felt pressured. I was like, oh my God, these people, they must want something from me. They're,
Right.
I was like, I gotta do something. But I've never been an influencer. I don't think that I can be an influencer. It's a lot of pressure
Mhm.
to do that type of thing. So I felt like the way that I could, after I got all of this growth, I was definitely thinking like I got all these followers. So I'm definitely going to try to get some of them to come to my business page once I start my business. So, I just thought that like I can just share my story and all that stuff a different way than being an influencer on Instagram. So
Yeah.
that's another reason like I started Naked by Nature because I wanted to just, let people know that like in this culture in today's day and age, like people love makeup, and I get that makeup is an artistic form, but I just want people to know that like you don't have to hide behind makeup. You can have beautiful skin and you don't have to wear makeup all the time. I'm not a huge makeup person. I only wear makeup like if I'm, going out somewhere special, but day to day, or even like if I'm just going out with my friends or something like that, I'm not wearing makeup. And I feel the best when I'm not. So I want other people to feel that way, to feel beautiful and confident in the skin that they have.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that. I really appreciate your mindset around that topic of, your goal isn't to be an Instagram influencer or anything like that, but you're still aware that you're creating this community perhaps to make women feel confident, or just people in general to feel confident in their own skin, in their bare skin. And you're also providing tools for them to gain that confidence. And it seems you've naturally created this community. Awesome. So back to Naked by Nature. I'm interested in knowing, do you have any pieces of advice top of mind for people who might want to start their own small businesses? Like any lessons you learned along the way that are top of mind and you might want to share with others?
Yeah, I definitely think when you're going into trying to start your own business, especially if you're young or even if you're older, you're already set in like a job or something like that. One piece of advice that I've learned is to not tell everybody what you're doing,
Mm.
because there are definitely going to be people that don't fully believe in what you can do because they've never done it themselves, or they don't know anyone that has done it, and it kind of seems like not feasible for them. So it's very important that like you treat, your dream or whatever like your baby. My mom
Mhm.
always says like you had a baby, like,
Yeah.
and like, it is because it's very near and dear to my heart, and I worked super hard for it. So I would just say to like, first thing is just like, only share it with the people that you know for sure will like have your back and that will support you, so that like you don't get discouraged during the process, because it is a hard process. And that's the second thing that I will say, that like it's difficult, and there are going to be days you want to give up, or you'll have a launch date and you'll have to push it back 3 months because you have to work out the kinks of something else, and that is okay. You have to, that's the third point I'm going to go into, is that you can't get caught up in looking at what someone else is doing who might be in the same field as you. You can't get caught up in how fast they've gotten their stuff together, or how fast they might have launched. You have to just focus on what you're trying to do in that moment, and just, reach your goal. It's not a race. Everyone moves at their own pace. So just make sure that you're staying focused on what you need to do. Don't do too much research of researching other small brands, because you can get caught up in that and think that your stuff's not good enough because you're looking at someone who's had like 5 years in the game and you're just starting. That can be extremely daunting. So I would say just kind of focus on what you need to do and not focus on other brands and things like that. And one of the another thing is that you're going to have people who might be around you who might want to do the same thing that you're doing, and it might offend you, but there's enough people out here and there's enough money for everyone to essentially like eat. Just my biggest tip is to just focus on your end goal. Don't focus on everyone else or the naysayers or what's going on in the industry. Just focus on your main goal, and that's trying to get the business started, and that's putting it out there. Put out the best that you can, do. And for me, that was a huge problem. That's why I'm saying all of this stuff, because I had never done anything before. And like when you're on Instagram, and you're scrolling, if you start liking certain pictures or looking up certain things, that's what Instagram will constantly show you. So I kept constantly seeing like other small businesses that was selling soap. And I'm like, wow, like maybe the market is way more saturated than I thought it was. I'm like, I did not know it was that many people doing this. And I got kind of intimidated. I'm like, well, maybe my stuff's not good enough, or, maybe I shouldn't do this. But, it's important just to focus on what you're doing and stay in your lane and not do too much of paying attention to what everyone else is doing. I literally had to like unfollow or like block pages and stuff just so
Mm-hmm.
I can stay focused on my end goal, which was to putting my stuff out there. And once I chose that final launch date, I was like, there's nothing that's going to get in my way. I'm putting it out that day. Like, I'm not going to push it back any further. You also can't wait till it's perfect. I wanted to get
Yep.
everything perfect. I wanted it to look as professional as I could, but I did at the end get it to look as good as it looked, and I put it
Mm-hmm.
out. So just stay focused. That's my number one tip, is just to stay focused.
Yeah, all great pieces of advice there. And I appreciate how they come from your personal experience too, of things you've experienced and had to overcome, or things you learned along the way. And I think you summarized it nicely of just do you and stay focused on what you're doing and your path, and be yourself in that journey, and don't get intimidated by others, or think you're not good enough. And I think people, what you're saying in the beginning of, don't tell everyone what you're doing, right? You don't need to shout it to the world during your journey, up to your launch. And I think people really love to doubt your idea. It's interesting because people love to doubt your idea even when they're not even trying that idea, right? Like they're just they just
Yeah.
love to doubt. They just love to shoot it down. So I think
Yeah.
being smart and almost protecting yourself and your idea, like you were saying, to only share it with your close group. I think that piece of advice just really stood out to me as you were speaking. Great piece of advice. Awesome. And where are you hoping to take Naked by Nature? Do you want to end up at storefronts, or what are your kind of milestones, both for the business and for yourself as well? I mean, do you have other passions, or is Naked by Nature your number one priority for now and for the near future?
Yeah, so when it comes to Naked by Nature, I get that question a lot. Like, do you want to open a store? Do you
Mhm.
want to just be strictly online? And to be honest, like, I want to do it all. I definitely would love a store. I mean, I have like a whole vision of how it would look and everything, and like what we would offer. So I definitely would want a store. And to be honest, my main goal is to open a spa. I would really
Mm.
love to open a spa that will we would offer, of course, all of Naked by Nature's products, and also like incorporate that into our treatments and things like that. So that's like my ultimate goal. But yeah, I want to do it all. I definitely like have other business ideas that I would love to venture out to, like once Naked by Nature is really on its feet. So all I can say is that, just everyone just watch out. Good things are definitely coming in the future. 2020 is definitely a shocking year. A
Mhm.
lot has happened, and I've definitely had to reevaluate what I was going to do this year. But despite everything and all the tragic things that has happened throughout 2020, I do believe 2020 is a good year because it kind of just made me, and I feel like a lot of other people, step back, reevaluate, focus on what's important, and it's causing us to think outside the box, which I think we needed to do, like, as a society.
Mhm. I really love your attitude and your mindset, because you seem to be a really positive person, but also still grounded at the same time, right? Like the sky's the limit for what you can do with Naked by Nature, where you can take it and what you can pursue yourself, but also you're still very much in the moment, and you're not losing sight of the next small goal of Naked by Nature and of your business. I just think it's a
Yeah.
great balance of, hey, I can do anything I want to do, but also here are my next steps for right now. I just love that balance. I can just tell as you're
Thank you.
speaking. No, it's a great personality trait to have. And yeah, I love that idea of opening a spa. I think that's unique because yeah, I think a natural next step would maybe be opening a store, or, as you were talking about, but opening a spa, that's unique with like all Naked by Nature products. That's cool because now you're offering a service as well.
I love that spot. So I'm like,
Yeah.
I love
Right.
going to get pampered,
Hmm.
that super important. Also, when you're starting a business, another tip is take care of yourself because the process can look up when you're working or researching something and it's like hour 5 and you haven't eaten. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? So, and also while I was doing this, I was in my last year of school. So going to
Oh,
class and
wow.
doing some things online. I did not think I was gonna make it, but I got that degree and then 2 months later I launched. So I was super, super proud of myself for doing that. But it was definitely rough and I definitely like had to have people work to remind me like, hey, you need a break. You have to like chill out. And I don't know, that month before my launch was just so hectic because my boyfriend's parents were getting remarried
Hmm.
and they had booked a trip in Jamaica and I did not want to go. I did not want to go because I just felt like I don't need to be here. I need to be like at home trying to get this launch together. And I was also preparing to be in a really big like street festival. It's called the Silver Room Fest in Hyde Park. They have it every summer. And I honestly like I made 1,000 products. So
Wow. Wow.
m-
That's a lot.
me and yeah, me and my mom, who that June, like May and June were like very tough months. Like getting like my finals in for school,
Hmm.
making all these products, having to go. I went on 2 vacations and like usually people were like let's go, but I did not want to go because I just felt like it was taking time away from what I needed to do. But we got it all done in time. But there were like vacations I could not say no to. So I had to do it. So both were renewals. My parents got renewed and then his parents got renewed. So
Nice.
it was a tough thing, but yeah, back home we pushed out getting those products done, and we went to the Silver Room Fest. I was under the impression that I was gonna sell all of those products because there were
Uh-huh.
like so many people out there, but no, like I'm a very shy person, so when I was there, we really had to like go out and talk to people and bring them back to like our booth to like get them to purchase and stuff. So I had to step outside of my comfort zone. That's
Mhm.
another thing with starting a business. You got to get comfortable with approaching people. You got to get comfortable with being rejected because a lot of people sometimes, if you're handing out a business card or a sample, people don't want to take that sometimes. They don't have a minute to stop and talk to you,
Right.
you know. So you have to get comfortable with putting yourself out there and sometimes, getting your hand kind of slapped. So
Yeah.
I'm still working on that. I do go out and hand out samples, like if I'm out at the grocery store or something like that, or just on the street sometimes if I have samples in my bags. I just hand out samples and sometimes people want them and sometimes they don't. But I every time I hand out a sample, I do get an order. So that's what
Oh,
motivates
nice.
me to go out here and pass these samples out.
I could imagine that. Speaking about putting yourself out there, some days you're on top of your game and it feels great and you're enjoying it. And then I can also imagine some days where you're like, oh, I just really don't want to talk to these people right now and
Yeah.
talk about my product. So, do you have any other like tips and tricks of finding that balance of pushing through, or even the balance, how you're mentioning like you didn't want to go on some of those vacations, which some people listening, I'm sure, I'm like, what? You're crazy. You didn't want to go to Jamaica, I think you said is where it was. Like that's
Yeah.
crazy. So any other, like tips and tricks of having that balance of work and life, and having it not just consume you 24/7.
Yeah, it's definitely hard. I'm not even sure that I have that balance because there are times where I will get super engulfed and naked by nature to where like I'm not doing anything else. I'm denying to do anything, to go out to do anything. And then
Hmm.
there's times where I'm like, okay, I definitely need a break, and I'm like getting caught up in my other work because I do have a regular job. My mom owns a
Oh,
daycare.
okay.
Yeah, my mom owns a daycare, so I help her 4 days a week.
Oh,
So I
wow.
get,
I didn't know
yeah,
that. That's crazy. Yeah,
yeah,
that's that's a lot.
yeah. So I get caught up in that, and also like kind of like nanny on the side a little bit. Like if someone needs me to like, there's been times where like for that launch last summer, I was doing too much last summer if you ask me. Someone needed me to watch their kid for 4 days while they went out of town. So
Hmm.
I had the kid with me at this event and everything. So great kid though. But there's sometimes where people are like, oh, can you take them for the weekend? And I'm just like, yeah, okay, sure,
Mhm.
and then I'm there at the daycare from like 9 to 5. Now it's a little different with the whole coronavirus, but before I was there from 9 to 5, and honestly, I was feeling a little burnt out because once I'm done dealing with the kids, I have to go home and I have to work on Naked by Nature. I have to fill the orders, and I'm doing it alone. So
Mhm.
um definitely, I talked to my mom, I cut my hours back, but if you're a regular person and you're working like a 9 to 5 where like your boss isn't your mom,
Yeah.
it might be difficult, but I definitely think that sometimes you have to go ahead and take that plunge and maybe like quit your job or find a part-time job so that you're able to focus on the business. But it's definitely hard to not fully get engulfed in one world. So I am working on talking to my mom and letting her know that I need to quit. I can focus on my business because it's getting kind of hectic trying to do everything alone and getting all these orders filled on time and getting them out is very difficult. So I'm still working on that work-life balance.
Yeah, it seems like I mean, you just got to make it work, right? And that it's
Yeah,
kind of
you
like
have to make it
hard.
work no what.
Yeah, and it's kind of like hard to hear when you're in the thick of it, but it's just true. You make it work, and then, one day you come to the conclusion like, all right, I need to quit my other job or jobs and focus on my business, and that's my decision. That's the right decision right now, and it just kind of happens somewhat naturally, right? You just make it work.
Yeah, yeah. You gotta push through. Like no
Mhm.
matter what. Like if this is your goal, like what I think about in those moments where I want to give up or I just want to go to sleep or something like that, you just have to think about your end goal. If you
Yeah.
truly want this, if you want like cuz I just don't want to just be a small business. Like it's okay for right now, but eventually like I want to be a huge brand, like I want to be everywhere. I want everyone in the whole world to know Naked
Mhm.
by Nature. So I think about that goal like, okay, you got to push through. You're not feeling good. Okay, your head is hurting. Take some Advil, drink some water, get something to eat, and get back at it.
Yep.
Or, take a 30-minute break and you got to get back to it. That's what I think about. And even when, like, for instance, last weekend I went out to IKEA and I brought 40 samples with me. And I'm like, I'm going to hand out all of these samples. And then
Yeah.
when I when I got there, I was like, I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't want to do this. I just want to get what I
Mhm.
need to get and I want to leave because I was tired. I was so tired, but I was like, you know what? Like, you're going to miss a sale if you don't pass these samples out. And of course, some people said no, but I handed out all of those samples. And in
Nice.
2 days, I got 3 orders and they were like, thanks so much for approaching me. Like, I really appreciate it. So, or sometimes you meet a person that's like, oh, I already sell that. You're like, oh, okay, cool.
Mhm.
Go
Yeah.
take a sample.
Right.
Like some people are very like I've ran into that multiple times. I'm just like, okay, and they're like snotty with it. I'm like,
Ugh.
awesome.
Yeah.
I'll give it to the next person.
Yeah.
But you have to push through, and you just have to like in that moment when I'm putting myself out there. I'm not Amber, I'm the owner of Naked by Nature. That's what I have to think of. Like I'm not a little kid anymore. I'm a businesswoman. I have a business and I have to like sometimes my mom always says like you're too humble about this whole situation. Like she's like, you are a businesswoman. You created this business. You created all this stuff by yourself with little
Mhm.
to no help. And she's like, you have to act like that sometimes. And sometimes, I get caught up in like I'm young and I'm, like and
That imposter syndrome almost.
yeah, especially when I'm approaching like older people
Mhm.
and I'm trying to tell them something. I'm like, they probably think I'm some kid, or like
Yeah.
I know that like I've definitely gotten a response from some people like if I'm out and I'm talking to people, they definitely think that like, I got some like rinky dink situation going on here. It's insulting, but then it's just like once you see how I carry myself, once you try the product, once you come to the site or the Instagram, like you see the like I'm putting my all into this. This is not something that I'm trying to just run out of my kitchen and I'm not putting any love or effort or care
Mhm.
into or professionalism. So yeah.
Yeah, it's your passion. It's what you want to do and you're doing it. And I find your story and the way you're speaking just so inspiring. Like I feel ready to go right now, like I want to
Thank
go
you.
work hard on the podcast. It's just yeah, you're just pushing through and you know what your goal is, you know what your passion is, you know what drives you, so you're going to get it done. And I think that's just such a powerful mindset to have, especially when you're working on creating and launching and running this business. I think that's going to take you so many places. It's awesome.
I can't wait to see like the end result.
Yeah, like where you'll be in a year or even like 6 months. Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
And a quick side question: do you make all your products like in your own home right now?
Yeah, so I'm operating out of my apartment
Okay.
and we're hoping to move out of the apartment and get like an actual workspace
Mm,
within the next few months. And then once I do that, I can definitely like bring on like an assistant or something.
right.
But once I do that, one of my goals is definitely to like create like jobs for young girls like in high school, who are looking for like, some credit hours possibly if their school offers it, or young women who are looking to like start their own business or to work in business in some type of way. I definitely want to give back to the community in that way, just to like, because I just know that I wish that I knew someone who was starting their own
Mm,
business like this, because like my mom has her own business, but it's in a completely different lane. Same with like, my stepdad, like he has his own business, but it's in like construction. So like it's just completely different from this. So I just wish I knew someone or someone who was doing this, had the resources to kind of like help out in my community. So I definitely want to be that for, other young women and like, young women in college or in high school.
right. And finding a way through your business to give back to,
Yeah.
younger people, like, how you remember experiencing yourself, or yeah, I love that. Just finding ways to give back as you're growing your business. So my last, really big question here for you, Amber, is in this moment right now, what is your proudest accomplishment? And it can be related to Naked by Nature or not at all. Just kind of the first thing that comes to mind when I ask you what your proudest accomplishment is.
I would say that my proudest accomplishment is, well, I guess like kind of like two things.
Mm-hmm.
One is just being consistent. I used to have a very hard time being consistent and sticking to things. So once I made this decision, I'm just glad that I made it to a year of business without giving up and everything like that. And our number two accomplishment that I did this year, well, that I was going to do, but I didn't get a chance to do, but I'm still very proud of myself, was I was able to get myself into the Black Women's Expo. The year before, I wasn't able to get in.
Mm-hmm.
So this year, the fact that I was able to do that, I was very, very proud of myself. And even though it didn't happen, I'm still looking at the bright side that I was able, I had enough products I could pay to get in, and that my application got accepted and everything. So I was very proud of myself, but I will be there next year. So
Nice.
that I'll get to experience it, and I hope to be in the Essence Fest next summer as well, if Corona like simmers down and
Yeah.
they have these festivals again.
Yeah.
Whenever
Yeah.
Essence comes back, I would love to be in the Essence Fest. So yeah.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. Congratulations on both of those accomplishments. Sticking with an idea and a passion. That's a huge accomplishment because it's very easy to give up, especially in the beginning or the first few years. That's an amazing accomplishment, and being accepted into these expos. I think, yeah, and even though, they may not have happened this year, like that's totally out of your control, right? Like you still
Yeah.
got in and will experience it, whether it's, I don't know, virtual or in person next year. Like you did that.
Yeah.
Right.
One more accomplishment, and also
Mhm.
something that I wanted to point out to anyone who like is starting or about to start, is that I said the last summer I made those 1,000 products, and I obviously did not sell that many products that day. I think maybe I only sold maybe like 200 products that day, which is still like amazing for like I had just launched the week before, so that's still amazing. But within that 8 month span of me starting the business, I sold all of those products,
Wow.
and I sold all of them, not through online or anything like that, but because I was googling like different websites I could like sign up to be on and get my business noticed. And then from there, a lot of people who were doing like summer markets and fall like markets for like, local like vendors and stuff like that, people were contacting me to be in vending events. And then once I went to one vending event, I would make sure that I connected with the other vendors that were there and followed them on their socials to connect with them. Because then if they posted, like there was multiple times where someone posted they were going to be vending somewhere the next day, and I would go on the page who was like throwing the market. I would email them and be like, hey, is it any way, do you guys have an extra table, can I vend? I was really like pushing and like kind of throwing myself out there, and I was like doing like at least 3 events every month. And I would, take a set number of products, and I just had to go like, I'm gonna sell everything that I bring today. So that's kind of how I got all of those products sold within 8 months.
Mhm. And it seems just, from speaking with you today that you have a very natural business mindset and a very strategic mindset too. Just through what you're sharing, it seems you don't let any opportunity go to waste. Like you maximize that opportunity by following up and, doing things post opportunity. And I think that's just so smart. And that's really how you grow a business. And I'm just really looking forward to see where Naked by Nature goes in the near future, because I think you're doing this in a very intelligent and strategic way.
Thank you.
Just have loved hearing your story, and thank you so much for sharing your perspectives and your journey so far with Naked by Nature. And before we sign off here, where can people find you and Naked by Nature, on social media, as your website, etc.?
So on social media, you can find my personal page at Amber Nicole Williams with 2 underscores. And on Naked by Nature, you can find us at naked.by.nature.llc. And our website is www.nakedbynature1.com.
Awesome. Well, I hope everyone checks out Naked by Nature. And thank you again so much for speaking with me today, Amber. You had great pieces of advice. And again, just loved hearing your journey. So thank you so much.
No, thank you so much for reaching out to me. I appreciate it, and I enjoyed talking to you and sharing my story.
Awesome. Thank you, Amber.